I don't think it should be a proposal. I think it should be just a straight up marriage. Like how they get married on Married at First Sight. When they just first meet each other, set everything up beforehand, have a officiant standing there, and y'all can either get married or go y'all separate ways. But I feel like the whole just getting engaged is very underwhelming. Welcome to Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about the Ultimatum South Africa. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to check out my website where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right here and right here. Click the QR code right here, or you can click the link down below to go to my website. I'm having a huge sale, so make sure you don't miss out. Like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, y'all, so we already went through a doozy. On the previous episodes, at least I was. My mouth was on the floor for a lot of it. But we're picking back up with basically Ruth exposing the fact that she has slept with Nola not once, not twice. I'm like, dang, girl, did you have to say it like that? Let me just say, I do respect Ruth for being honest and not sneaking around, doing it behind her back, and just being upfront, even when she really didn't have to be. But as soon as Lebo heard that information, of course, she ran off to go confront him about it, and you already know he gonna lie. Lie, deny, gaslight, make them feel like they're crazy, even though what you did is literally on camera, and she's going to be able to physically see what happened. Like, what's the point of doing all that lying? And if y'all see a gnat flying around here, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get rid of them. I promise you I'm not dirty. I just, it's driving me crazy. I'm trying to get rid of them. Lebo is completely hurt. She's going off on him. She's just going in and just using up so much of her energy. And of course, this is a very hurtful situation. But I'm just like, leave him. Like, I wouldn't even want to go through all of this with him, because you know he's not going to tell the truth. You know he's going to give you the runaround. He starts confronting Ruth and getting mad at Ruth and going off on her and saying she was wrong and why would you do that? And Ruth was just sitting there like very much unfazed, okay? You know, it's like she knows she's telling the truth, so there's no point in going through the motions with him. So in order to get some type of revenge on Ruth, he decides to call up Isaac in order to spill the tea to him. And it's like, first of all, you already lied to Isaac. Isaac asked you straight up. You lied straight to his face. Second of all, your girlfriend is sitting right here who you're also currently lying to. And so as soon as he confessed, oh, so you did do it. So you're finally admitting the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has no regard for her at all whatsoever. I hope she watches this back and sees that. So, of course, as soon as Isaac hears that, he rushes over to confront the whole situation. Once again, Nola is putting all the blame on Ruth, blaming Ruth for everything, like it was all her fault. I guess he was just a helpless lamb in this situation. And Isaac was just very hurt. Like, I feel like out of everybody in this situation, I feel like his feelings were very much so just tossed to the side. Like, nobody cared about what Isaac felt at all. And I get it. Isaac, he was no perfect angel. I do think he was messing over Ruth. You know, he wrong for introducing Kanya to his family before he introduced Ruth to his family. But still, this was a very hurtful thing that he... And then again, now that I think about it, he kissed Kanya. And I personally feel like more went down that they just didn't say. So I don't know if he's necessarily right to be indignant and upset and hurt, but it was a shock in the way that it went down. You know, he did come off like he was hurt by the whole thing. I think his ego was bruised more than anything else, especially since Nola lied straight to his face. When he's talking to Ruth about it, she was just very passive aggressive, like almost enjoying the fact that he was hurt by it. Like, once again, I feel like she was looking for a reaction from him. At some point, Nola decides that he's just gonna run off. Like, he's trying to escape from it all, even though you are the center of the drama right now. And Lebo and Isaac teamed up and said, we about to go find him. They took off after him. They took off running after him. And he's like really at this point being indignant, not showing any sort of remorse or not apologetic at all. And Isaac was really in his feelings. They was about to come to blows. If they would have really let Isaac get to him, I fear Nola wouldn't have made it, okay? Because Nola was doing a lot of talking, but I think that Isaac would have really laid him out. Once Ruth saw Nola's true colors, she wasn't having it with him anymore. She was like, you are not sleeping here tonight. She threw all his clothes out. Just had everything all spread out all over the line. The next day we find out that they are leaving the entire experiment, and Lebo claims that she's done with him, but we'll find out later that's not true. I didn't believe him when she said it the first time. Isaac decided to stick around, which really shocked me. He must have got a nice check for sticking around, because I just didn't see that coming from him after everything that went down. But we'll hear more from them later. For now, let's discuss Kateko, SZA, and Kanya. SZA comes back from the girls' night after Kanya literally went in on her, called her all out of her name, was just being nasty and rude to her. And she came running back to Kateko to let her know, like, she was talking to me crazy, and, you know, she was crying, and, you know, she was really upset about it. And he was like, you know what? We about to go confront her right now. And she was like, right now? He was like, yep, come on, let's go. And so she, you know, she was like, okay. Thinking that he was going to have her back, thinking that, you know, it was going to be something where she would have his support. How about he came, brought her over. You know, Kanya is not the type you drop over her house unannounced, by the way, okay? She was very displeased. She was like, I did not invite y'all over here. But SZA came in, have a seat. She was like, I didn't tell you to sit down. As she was going off, he leaves. Just completely left SZA there to get screamed on her own. And I completely lost all respect for him in that moment. I was like, how you just gonna lead this girl to slaughter? You knew exactly what Kanye was gonna do. You know she crazy. Why would you do that? And so I don't know why SZA continued sitting there, but she did. When I tell you she went in on her even worse, screaming, calling her fat, pounding on the table, just berating her, being so nasty for no reason. Because what did SZA really do to you? Really, like, yeah, she came over here unannounced, but she didn't even say anything rude. She's like doing this nervous laugh thing that she does, but she's not even like reading her back. She's not going off back. There's a plenty of things she could have said. She could have started with the wig and ended with the makeup, but she didn't. And I'm like, girl, defend yourself, fight back. I couldn't believe she was sitting there taking all them bullets. There's plenty of things you could have said about her too. I would at least said, well, I'm about to go home to my man. Okay, good night. Something. She didn't say anything, but that's probably not in her nature. I don't blame her. She does seem like a really sweet girl. Kanya effectively kicks her out. And she runs back to her place and goes off on him, which I'm not mad at her for going off on him, but she goes back to her place and is like, why would you leave me like that? Like, he really pumped her head up so she could go get disrespected. And so at that point, I guess he felt bad for what he did. So he decided to go back over and confront Kanya about what she had did. He's trying to walk in and have the conversation with her in her place. And she's like, stand outside the door. Stand outside. Do not come in here. And was insulting and screaming at him too, like giving him the same treatment he gave SZA. And it's like, he has no backbone at all. So obviously she ended up kicking him out too. And then poor Isaac, he couldn't catch a break after he just found out that his girlfriend slept with somebody else. She keeping him up all night with this drama. Like, she act like she don't care about SZA, but you literally talking about her all night long. How does that make any sense? Anyway, with that being said, let's move on to the changeover. Aiden obviously is going to go back with Courtney. He realized he got too comfortable in the relationship, so he's going to try to do better. Courtney really didn't give Genesis the time of day. Like, she did peck him on the last night, but there was no, like, deciding, oh, do I really want Aiden now after being with... No, there was absolutely nothing that happened between them. Lindile confessed that he might not actually be ready to get married. Sir, you're the one who brought her here. Are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? See, I still don't believe this is real between him. Like, I think it might be real on her part, but I don't know. I feel like he brought her here to be on TV. I really, truly believe that. I even think that he was putting on the front with Tabby, and they were trying to pretend like they were all, you know, please. I don't believe none of that. But when it came down to Nateko and SZA, they were like really gushing over each other. And I do feel like they have some sort of chemistry there. But when they were talking about each other, Kanye was over there seething. She was big mad. Okay. And it's like, Kanye, if you're going to be this jealous, why did you come? Like, why would you bring him here if you're going to be that jealous? And you can't control your behavior. You can't emotionally regulate yourself. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Then it was Kanye's turn to talk about their relationship. And she really was talking about him in a demeaning way. She has no respect for anybody. Nobody. She's so condescending and she feels like she's better than everyone. She could have just said they're not compatible and leave it at that. But she just had to go in, and it's not necessary. Isaac really took it all on the chin and took it with stride. I think he was just happy to get away from her, to be honest. Then it's Ruth's turn to talk about her experience. Nola isn't there, so she's just going to talk about her experience. So she's going to talk about how Isaac didn't check in with her during those 3 weeks. It doesn't really excuse what you did, though, because you did mess around with Nola on the first night. Just say you never got what you wanted from Isaac, because it wasn't because he wasn't checking in on you. And also, I feel like, why would Ruth bring him there with all that animosity that she has against him? Unless you just want to punish him and embarrass him in some sort of way. And that's exactly what Isaac said. He feels she brought him to this show in order to embarrass him. And that's also another reason why I'm confused as to why he stayed. Kanye couldn't let this meeting end without letting it be known that she was very disgusted with Kateko. Kateko let her know that he talked about her behavior with Isaac and they feel the same exact way about it. Like, it's not just me saying it's about you anymore. I have somebody corroborating how you behave and it not being okay. And obviously she was going to be very defensive about that. And, basically saying that neither one of them can handle her, and when really it's you that can dish it and can't take it. So now let's talk about how the couple spent the next 3 weeks together. Tabby and Genesis. He had some gifts waiting on her whenever they came back to their place, and it was wild because she's like going crazy over the gifts that Genesis bought her, but then she looked over and saw a bigger gift from Lindile. And she was like gushing all over it. It was a teddy bear or whatever. So she was like, oh. He felt some type of way. I feel like Lindile was very messy for that because he could have given that to her beforehand. And then she had the nerve to buy Lindile a gift and kiss the card. I'm like, and we'll talk more about that part later, but he did end up proposing to Tabby at the end of all this. And he wrote her a poem and a letter of intent to her family. And it's about time. It's about time. Like, I'm not finna sit up here and jump up and down and clap. It's about time. It's been 7 years. And still, I'm not seeing the romance between these two. I feel like they're just comfortable together. But I really just feel like Tabby should move on and find somebody that will really love her the way she wants to be loved. Okay, let's go ahead and get Courtney and Aiden out of the way. So Courtney's problem is she feels that he doesn't fight for their relationship. She feels like he has no direction in life and he's just aimlessly wandering, basically. She wants him to get his ish together, pretty much. He doesn't know what he wants in general, and she wants him to be 10 toes knowing that he wants to be with her and figuring out what he wants to do in life. But after this whole experiment, he decided that he does want to settle down with her. He broke down, bought a ring. When it was time to meet the parents, he sat down and asked the parents for her hand. Well, he didn't ask. He just told them that he was going to propose to her, and they just started crying. They didn't ever give their... I don't think the father ever verbally gave his approval, but they were happy for the fact that he decided to just go ahead and do that. But he did tell him, you need to go on and find a job if you're going to do this. If you're going to marry my baby girl, you need to get a job. And at the end, he proposed to her, and she pulled a ring out from her shoe and proposed to him back, child. I guess. I don't know. This is another one. I'm like, are y'all just comfortable? That's why this show isn't the most satisfying to me. Because even if y'all propose at the end, y'all should have been done. I feel like this is what I think. I think instead of at the end them proposing, it should be get married, or break up. I don't think it should be a proposal. I think it should be just a straight up marriage. Like how they get married on Married at First Sight. When they just first meet each other, set everything up beforehand, have a officiant standing there, and y'all can either get married or go y'all separate ways. But I feel like the whole just getting engaged is very underwhelming, and I'm like, am I supposed to be happy? It's not satisfying at all. You should have been done that. I feel like getting married probably would make more sense, especially for people who have been together 7 years. Why y'all still waiting? Like, what are y'all waiting on now? Like, y'all gonna have a long engagement too? So then we have Kanye and Kateko. She lives for the drama, child. Kanye doesn't know peace. She doesn't want peace for real. She lives for the drama. So when they get back to their place after the changeover, she is giving him the silent treatment. She will not speak to him, stonewalling him, if you will. When it was time to go to bed, she didn't want to let him in the bed because he was just sleeping in the bed with SZA. You were just sleeping in the bed with Isaac. Like, what? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So she's screaming and hollering. He's like, look, I'm not getting up out of this bed. I'm sleeping in this bed tonight. So she starts grabbing all up on him and pour wine on him. I'm sorry, y'all. That would have been it for me. Like, he has no boundaries. He has no standards. You know what I'm saying? He don't love himself or something. Like, why are you willing to put up with that? Because this is, at this point, it's point blank period. Like, all the gaslighting and stonewalling, all the screaming and everything, it's giving verbal and mental abuse at this point. And you're just sitting there taking it. I don't think either one of them are marriage material, because if you're willing to put up with this, there's something missing within you that you need to work on and heal. And for her to treat people like that, clearly you don't need to be in nobody's marriage. So the next day, she strong-armed an apology out of him, even though he didn't do anything wrong. And he actually apologized, and she interrupted by wanting to know what happened between him and SZA. Wouldn't even let him get it out. For some reason, she feels like SZA was just talking crap about Kanye all day, and he would let her do that. And no, that is what you were doing over here with Isaac. Nobody was doing that to you. She said that Isaac told her that SZA and Kateko were dying to sleep together. He was like, why would you listen to a man who's trying to sleep with you? And then he said, well, since you like to listen to what Isaac said you was a gold digger. She was like, well, how did I end up with you? I was like, dang. The way she said that was so... She was like, yeah, I deprived myself of all the material things for love. Basically saying he ain't got nothing. I'm like, she don't love him at all. How can you love somebody and put them on blast like that? They start laughing, and they laugh their way all the way to the bedroom. It's just over. Like, now they're in a good place. I'm like, this is a very toxic relationship. Like, this relationship is so toxic. The way they just started laughing and didn't actually talk anything out. Didn't even come to a good conclusion. Oh, we're just gonna laugh. And that's it, huh? Oh, he's back in my reigns. I'm done screaming and hollering. They have another gathering, and Ruth ends up going in on Kanye. She went in on Kanye. Kanye pretty much was trying to slut shame Ruth for sleeping with Nola. She was just throwing unwarranted shots out of nowhere, as usual. The same thing she did to SZA. And she thought she was going to get away with it with Ruth. And Ruth was like, oh, I'm not the one or the two. And she went in on Kanye so bad that Kanye could not take it. When she got home, poor Kateko couldn't get no sleep that night. Because once again, she going to stay up all night talking about it. She cannot take any sort of... She want to read everybody, but can't take none of the bullets. It's crazy. Like, really? And then you're gonna visibly show how bothered you are on camera. She has no self-awareness whatsoever. Then we get down to the decision, and Kateko pulls out a ring, but it turns out it's not an engagement ring. It's a promise ring. I can't even say I'm mad at the man, okay? The way she been hollering and screaming and going off and being nasty, I probably wouldn't have proposed to her either, but I don't know why he just won't leave her instead of playing a game of a promise ring. I'm also not mad at Kanye for not accepting it, not going along with any of this. I'm surprised she didn't go off the way she did before. This moment out of all of them, this is where you should have acted a fool. This is the part where you would have been justified in it. Like, I don't know why she didn't snap on him the way she did SZA. But yeah, pretty much she said that was a slap in the face. And, you know, he's clueless. Oh, I don't know why she's mad. So then all of a sudden he wanted to turn the promise ring into an engagement ring and act like he wanted to propose. And she was like, no, I'm not having it. Not with this ring. This ring is already tainted. It's over with. And, you know, at the end, she claims she's going to move on. But we'll see where they are at the reunion. So finally, we have Ruth and Isaac. At this point, Ruth wants to apologize. After she's been so nonchalant, so apathetic, so unapologetic this entire time, now she wants to apologize. And it, honestly, for me, it would have been too late. But she's not apologizing for the act, because that's something she wanted to do, and she stands behind that. But she said she was wrong for how he found out. Like, she should have told him pretty much the same way she gave Lebo that respect. She should have at least given Isaac the same respect. And I agree with that. But she also said, but you've been kissing on Kanye and y'all saw each other naked. So don't try to sit up here and try to act like you're just this innocent angel. She confronts him about introducing Kanye to his family before introducing her. Clearly, she was feeling very spiteful. And that's why she did what she did. He, at this point, is being very flippant and unapologetic. And he packs up his stuff and leaves. But at some point, he comes back. She says she appreciates him being there because most men would have left after what she did. And, you know, he insists on sleeping on that baby couch, scrunched up. And he know he too big for that couch. She just doesn't understand why he can't let it go. She wants him to warm back up to her. She wants things to be the way it was before, but she got to understand, y'all got to build trust back. Like, both of y'all did some shady things on both ends, and, you know, I guess in her mind, they cancel each other out, but he's like, no, we gonna have to work on this. Like, I just can't get back to where I was. You know, she's kind of being a little unreasonable with that, and he pulls out a ring. Now she wants to be rational. Now she wants to see his side. Now she wants to understand, because he claimed that he had real intentions to propose to her. He brought that ring from the first day he had it. He wanted to propose to her, and he, you know, what she did hurt him. And he said he still loves her, and that's why he's sticking around, because he wants to try to make it work. And she was like, well, you never shared your plans with me. You didn't let me know that you wanted to marry me. They've been together, what, 2 years? So yes, it's around that time to either you propose or you leave. So I get the dance that the two are doing, but I'm also more on Ruth's side, because you didn't introduce her to your family. Like, you're supposed to, that right there would make your intentions known without having to tell her your exact plans of when and where you're going to do it. So he finally introduced her to his family, child. He had never told them about her after 2 years. They didn't know. They didn't even know nothing about this. And from their perspective, clearly he wasn't sure of her, because in their culture, when you bring somebody home, they want to marry them. So the fact that you haven't even mentioned her, yeah, Isaac was playing. He was playing plenty of games. Are you crazy? But then again, he might have been right to be skeptical of whether he wanted to be with her or not, because she was quick to sleep with somebody else. Nobody wins in this relationship. I can't be on anybody's side. They get to fussing and arguing about how he's selfish with his time. Like, this is not a good first impression on the family. The family is just like, oh, you sure you want to be together? Are you sure? And then when they finally get to the decision of whether he's going to propose or not, he pulled out the ring, but he didn't propose because he feels she deserves better. And, you know, she pretty much breaks up with him. They both seem relieved. I feel like they just got tired of being in a circus with each other, and, you know, they made the best decision not to be together. And he acted like he was so emotional about it, but child, I didn't see no tears. He was doing all this. He looked more upset when he found out that he was cheated on. So now let's get to the reunion. This reunion is a year later. Y'all know how Netflix reunions go. We ain't never gonna get down to the root, to the nitty gritty. We ain't gonna get the real questions answered. We ain't gonna have the right follow-up questions. They're gonna be coddled the entire time. I don't know why I expected it to be any different in South Africa. It left much to be desired, but we're still gonna discuss it. So Lebo and Nola came out. Okay, they did attend the reunion. So then they have the conversation about the low-key love triangle between Ruth, Isaac, Lebo and Nola. Now, let me say this about Ruth. I don't know why she was so subdued at the reunion. In fact, everybody was very subdued. Everybody acted like they took an edible or something. All the people that were the big personalities were very mellow, except for maybe Isaac. Isaac, he was keeping that same energy, but everybody else, I'm like, are these the same people? What happened? Like, are y'all not getting a big enough check for this reunion? What's going on? She asked Isaac, do you think things would have been different if you would have accepted the invitation to be with Lebo instead of choosing Kanya? And he was like, yes, they would have been a perfect match. He had a good time with Kanya until things got real, but him and Lebo, they're actually friends in real life now. And then they say that both Ruth and Isaac are in pseudo relationships now, not with each other, but with other people. Now Nola is in the hot seat. He claims he didn't want everything to come out the way that it did. He thanked Ruth for the experience and learning what he learned from it. I don't know, the way he was talking about it just felt a little inconsiderate of Lebo, who was sitting right there, even though they were on opposite sides of the couch. The host asked Lebo, are you offended by what he's saying? And she was like, why are you admiring another woman instead of me? And we're supposed to be together. He said that he loves Lebo, but Lebo was like, but do you love Ruth? And that's when the host cuts him off, doesn't let him answer, and asks Ruth a question. And I'm like, I want to know what this man was about to say. We never got the answer to that. Girl, I want to jump through the TV. I'm like, lady, let this man answer a question and be held accountable. Ruth said she don't want nothing to do with this. She put her hands up in the air. I'm done with it, pretty much. They asked Lebo how she felt when, he finally confessed to what he did. She said she felt very heartbroken and betrayed by him. And I'm sure very embarrassed by the whole thing. And she doesn't feel like Ruth is to blame. And that's what I respect about Lebo. She never actually came for Ruth in this situation. She always kept her focused on Nola. I respect that. She said that she did break up with him, but they ended up trying again after a month. And it sounded like he did a lot of begging and pleading and convinced her. And claims that they are happy together, right? Isaac thinks that's a lie because, once again, him and Lebo are friends and they talk all the time, and he knows the truth of how she feels about their relationship. Lebo had no clue of this, so he tries to, act upset about it. Nola has been working abroad, but he turned out a lot of his international work because he wants to be closer to her. He wants the relationship to work. But Isaac tells her that she will not be happy with her life until she lets Nola go. Some people feel like she waited until the reunion to break up with him in order to dunk on him or whatever. But I truly do feel like she finally got the courage to leave him at the reunion because she had the support that it doesn't seem like she had before. And she finally had the strength to do that. And obviously Aiden and Isaac, especially Isaac, were over there jumping for joy. He got to be clapped and everything. And Nola got up, walked off stage, mad, acting like somebody really did something to him, crying like, oh, she's doing this to hurt me, and just making it all about himself. He can't take any sort of accountability. He can't hold a mirror up to himself and admit any of his wrongdoings. But he had to learn the hard way. You can't just treat people any kind of way. Genesis ran after him, and he acted like he was too upset to hear what Genesis had to say. He was saying some stuff he really need to hear. He drags himself back on stage, and Lebo is not easing up, telling him you need to take accountability for how you act. He can't blame Lebo right now, so he trying to blame Isaac for everything. He starts crying, and she was like, he do this every single time, and I'm not falling for it anymore. The only thing she apologized for is the fact that she felt like she didn't give Aiden a fair shot at the experiment because she was so focused on him. And I totally agree with that, and that's fair. It does feel like Lebo has had some growth after this. I really hope she don't go back to him and give him another chance because he don't deserve it. So now we have Tabby and Genesis. She doesn't have her ring on, and the engagement is on pause because they're fixing some things. And there's some things that have to be discussed with the family. I'm assuming the dowry, maybe you don't have the money for that. I don't know. This is another couple. I'm just, break up with him. Leave him. He ain't trying to be serious. He ain't trying to be real. You over here trying to lecture Nola, even though you were saying the right things. You need to learn you need to look in the mirror and do some self-reflection yourself, because he playing too many games. And I feel like he playing in her face as well. He just comes off as more genuine, maybe because he little and has a soft voice. I don't know. So that's one engagement that fell flat. Then we have SZA and Lindile. They're still engaged, but they have no date set. But he claims they're going to get married by the end of the year. When are y'all going to plan a wedding then? I've seen African weddings, okay? You need money, and I'm sure you need plenty of time to plan all that. And also, did I hear this right, that he didn't have enough money for the quote-unquote dowry? So how you gonna get married to anybody you don't have the money to do it? Once again, this man brought her on here for TV. I believe SZA is genuine. I don't believe him at all. I don't. He came here for exposure. He came here to boost his profile, because I don't see any other I don't think he really wants to be with her. It's not giving that at all. Even when they were sitting together, he wasn't leaning into her. I wasn't feeling the body language towards her. I don't think he really wants that. He playing all the games. Another engagement that fell flat. But the main thing that surprised me about that segment is that Kanye actually apologized for body shaming SZA. Like, did she get a chance to watch the season back? Maybe she knew she was going to get lit up. Maybe she knew people was going to go in on her online. I don't know. But she was very laid back at this reunion. We're going to get to them and their explosive bomb dropped at the reunion. But first, let's get Aiden and Courtney out of the way. He got a job. Congratulations. He needed one. And then basically Courtney says she's completely comfortable with being engaged. I don't think they'll ever get married. Like, another engagement flop. I just don't think that y'all how are you okay with being engaged now? Did you just want to get engaged? You just wanted a ring? You didn't want to actually go through with the marriage? Like, I don't believe anybody on this show is actually getting married. With that being said, let's move on to Kateko and Kanye. He said that he doesn't regret giving her the promise ring that day, and he just doesn't feel that they are ready to get married. And that's when they decided to show that beautiful bean footage of her being mean and nasty to everybody, especially to him. They showed a montage of all the mean girl behavior, and, you know, she got, oh, that's not a reflection of who I am. Girl, that's you. And you need to work on it, especially if you want to get married. Who's going to look at that and think that's marriage material? She was acting apologetic. I don't know how much of that I believed. And then he decided to come in and take responsibility for her actions because he made her jealous. Like, he is whipped to the 10th degree. With the reveal that we got, it kind of, I kind of understand why he was defending her, but honey, there's no defense for that. They said that they're in therapy. Thank God, because they revealed that they have a whole baby boy and he is 3 months old. She must have gotten pregnant immediately after that whole promise ring fiasco, because it's a year later. Takes 9 months to have a baby. The baby is 3 months. So I feel like the math is mathing with that. I think everybody was very uncomfortable with the fact that y'all have had a baby, with how tumultuous that relationship looked on screen. Okay? Everybody was very like, oh, yay. Kind of clapping out of obligation, but it was giving very much that couple from the last season of the Ultimatum US. When they had that baby, it's like, yeah, that's the last thing y'all need to be doing, is bringing a child into this equation. I felt bad because he always wanted a father. His father passed away at an early age, and so he always wanted to be able to give that to a child, and it's a whole baby boy. She claimed that she really was pushing for marriage because she wanted to be married before she had a baby, but now that she has the baby, she done got comfortable and don't care about getting married. Everybody on this show is a joke. But it turns out, y'all, I saw online that they're not together anymore. And they don't need to be together. They too toxic. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I'd love to hear your opinion. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in my next one. Peace.